Then you take us to Stafford on OS6, okay?
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
3,
1.
2, 1. Colin, you will
Yep.
be in vision. And
Police and fire service.
Q. And dip the bubble out, please. Flash live to OS6.
The fire overnight, the police and fire service making a statement on the house fire, in which 4 children died.
Yeah, there are names in the template. Let me unfloat it.
Lights are out. OS6 live.
26, Sunny.
Can we give us a live location here? Where are we?
Yeah, if you, it will
I've got
be
it.
Rob Barber.
3 fire appliances and an aerial ladder platform were mobilised by our fire control staff.
So there's still no sign of that. Still.
No, it's been withdrawn, so we just need
Fine,
to wait.
okay.
1 male, 1 female and a baby had escaped from the property prior to our arrival via a first floor window. Firefighters wearing breather apparatus entered the property in order to search for other family members. While firefighters were faced with very difficult conditions inside the property due to the severity
Plan of
the
action
fire.
is, I think we'll move on to Brexit, because I'm assuming that Becky Johnson is obviously filming this, unless she comes back into shot. We've got 3 people. We've got 3 people speaking.
Okay, all right, we'll need to speak to her, so then not
Yeah.
to step back in. Let them walk away rather than... Yeah. I've got it here on preview anyway. Thanks. I think I'll take the
So
press
that's our
release.
director Stuart. He's just talking to Sam there. He's directing the next hour. It's a bit calm in the gallery, a bit quiet now. Isn't normally, because they're taking this live press conference from Stafford with the emergency services, giving their latest update.
Will remain in the community to provide support and advice.
So just confirm 29 off the back of this.
Further advice and support,
Yes, so at the moment we're on 26, and we would go to,
on our website.
well, actually,
Again,
possibly
our thoughts
21
go out to
if
the family and
Becky
friends
Johnson
of
comes
those
up.
involved at this tragic incident.
but otherwise
We
29.
can make the call with her,
Yes,
tell her not
exactly. Yep.
Good afternoon. My name's Nathan Hudson and I'm the Assistant Chief.
So that's, yeah, Nathan
West
Hudson.
Midlands Ambulance Service.
Yep, great.
So Sam there just saying the name of the next person who's appeared in this press conference, so that the person who's putting the strap across the bottom of the screen on Sky News knows exactly who it is, and that they put the right name up while the person is talking.
And the hazardous area response team to the
Yes,
scene of the
otherwise
fire.
it is page 29.
2 adults and a child were already out of the property when the crew arrived. They each received
Fires aware with
treatment
us, we will
by
be
the
coming
ambulance
to you
staff
shortly.
for
We're waiting to hear from one more person at this fire
before
press
being
conference, and
taken
we'll be
to the
with
major
you.
trauma centre in Stoke.
It'll either be this or
Tragically, 4 children were
21,
confirmed.
Let's just cut away from the gallery and that press conference and take you to Millbank. Now, this is in London, in Westminster, 2 minutes from the Houses of Parliament, and this is the heart of our political coverage at Sky News. This building at 4 Westminster houses Sky News. It houses lots of other media organisations as well. It's where politicians come who want to be interviewed. It's got a very famous staircase that you might have seen a lot of politicians being interviewed against. But this is actually the Sky News studios in there. We're waiting for our political correspondent, Kate McCann, who, oh, there she is. She's just been to lobby briefing. This is when a political journalist goes down to number 10 and they chat to the press officer for the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister
Let's listen in.
this morning. She'll then go to Belfast for a speech at 3 o'clock. That will last around 20 minutes. There'll be Q&A. She's doing a roundtable with business at 4:15 and then 5:20. There'll be a community leadership event in the House today. James Brokenshire will set out local government finance. There'll be a vote, and then there'll be an urgent question on Windrush later on. And the Children's Minister, Margot James, and are both doing speeches at 2:30 and 3 on when we'll get the white paper. They say in winter, which apparently we're still in winter. We did have a 5-minute discussion on when winter ends. And then in terms of the Cabinet, so Cabinet readout, Cabinet agreed that Parliament has indicated a withdrawal agreement with changes to the backstop. They reiterated their commitment to no hard border. PM says there must be a legally binding way that we can't be trapped indefinitely in the backstop, and urgent work has started to try and figure out how we do that. There are 3 different ways, which we know about already. She said discussions with the EU won't be easy, but approved. She reiterated the second referendum doesn't have support, and she said again that Jeremy Corbyn supports her on the backstop point, which I think she's going to try and use to go back to Brussels and get some support.
Was there any details on
Brussels trip on Thursday?
So there is, just in terms of the rest of anything else that was discussed at Cabinet, they talked about Zimbabwe. There was an update on no deal planning, but just kind of as usual. They didn't talk about Article 50 extension or whether there should be a free vote, just didn't come up. She ran through the alternative arrangements again, but she wouldn't say, there was a couple of questions about this, whether or not she had any preference about what she would take back to Brussels, whether she will go on Thursday with a specific plan. They just wouldn't engage on that. Just kept saying we're treating each of those pieces of work as urgent, we're proceeding with them all. And then there was an update on parliamentary bills. In terms of Brussels, she will be meeting Jean-Claude Juncker. We expect that to be late morning, possibly around 11 o'clock. They'll discuss Brexit, but there's nothing else in terms of what will be on the agenda. There is some operational stuff, which I will tell you guys later. She was asked why she would go this week and not last week, and that's all down to trying to get a plan in place before she went. But again, they won't say exactly what that plan will be or when these discussions will be concluded.
And was there any detail about Northern Ireland tomorrow, who she's meeting?
There's a bit more detail on Brussels if you want it. He just was asked, why they're refusing to open the withdrawal agreement. Doesn't that mean it's done for before we even start? And he said every statement the EU put out, they want us to leave with a deal. If they want that to happen, then they need to make some changes, etc., etc. He talked about the options. He kept saying both sides need to work together. To do that, and then there was some discussion about parliamentary protocol and motions, which didn't really shed much light. Also, Liam Fox trade bill stuff came up. Don't know if we've seen that. I haven't seen it, but he hadn't heard about it either. Asked how the PM is feeling. He said the PM is determined to do what it takes to get the changes required for Parliament to support leaving the EU with a deal. And it lasted for about an hour. One thing the PM did definitely say was that we must and will leave on the 29th of March, so that came up again. And in terms of Northern Ireland, let me get back through. So the point of the meetings in Ireland, to stress our commitment to the Belfast Agreement, she will be meeting with the UUP Alliance, the SDLP, Sinn Féin, the DUP, and the leader of the Northern Irish Conservatives, Alan Dunlop. He couldn't confirm whether it will be the leader of those parties or representatives from them. And there will be some discussion with businesses, but there's no more detail about exactly where or when that will be happening yet. So yeah, I think that was it so far.
One thing slightly so, the Ben Wallace line that John Cantley's...
Yeah, he was asked whether John Cantley is still alive. The spokesman said, it may be something I'm not able to discuss, but I will check and get back to you. Okay. He didn't seem to be across it necessarily. I think it's come out in a briefing with Home Affairs journalists this morning. Yeah. So we need to check in with the Home Office and figure out exactly what's going on there.
Yes, and I checked with the Home Office and they have no idea yet. So
yeah, I think we can try and check in with some advisors on that, but he had no more light to shed on that point. And then the rest of stuff was kind of going around in circles on the stuff we usually cover on when the vote will come back. The commitment is as soon as possible. We know about the 14th. Yeah, that's it really. Okay. That was pretty much it.
Cool, thank you.
Cool.
So that's Kate McCann, our political correspondent. She's been to what's called known as the lobby briefing. This is when the political journalists from all the different media organisations go across to number 10. Enda's with Kate. Enda.
Hi Jane, yeah, Kate is here. Kate, you've just come from the lobby. Just spell out to me, so what is the lobby and how does it work?
So it's when the PM spokesman briefs journalists. It happens every morning and pretty much every afternoon. And we get to ask questions of the spokesman about what's going on in the day, what might be happening later this week. Some of that is on the record, so that means that we can come back and discuss it like this and report it on TV. Some of it is operational or background. That's usually to do with travel plans, where she might be and when she might be. So we obviously can't report that for security reasons. So a bit of that came up today, which we haven't been able to talk about, but we will. It's for planning purposes to know where to put cameras, basically.
So it's useful logistical intel.
Yeah, it's really useful, and it means that we can, for example, on a Tuesday, the Cabinet meets every Tuesday morning, so the lobby briefing on a Tuesday is to go through specifically what was discussed at that briefing. So it's about what the PM's message has been to her senior ministers, what they've discussed, any concerns they might have. And what's really great about lobby is you can have a chat with some of those ministers beforehand and then put those conversations to the Prime Minister's spokesman in the lobby briefing to try and firm it up and confirm whether it's happened or not.
So how many people attend?
Well, it's open to all lobby journalists, so usually every paper and broadcaster sends a correspondent or representative, so there's probably around 25 people in the room, and the PM spokesman in the afternoon, that's chaired by a member of the lobby too. But it's quite a formal style of briefing. He sits at the front at a desk, we all sit in chairs facing him, a bit like a classroom. And we have to put up our hands to ask questions, and if we want to change the subject, we have to ask to change the subject.
So just on the topic of subjects, what's the strangest thing you've had to ask the Prime Minister's spokesperson?
I can't remember the strangest one. Today we did have a 5-minute discussion about when winter ended, because we were asking about when a specific paper was going to be publicised, and they said in winter at some point. So we were saying, does winter end in March? Does it end in February? So yeah, that kind of thing can be quite funny. It's quite light-hearted. People were sort of having a laugh about that, but we didn't get an answer.
So the spokesperson for the Prime Minister, they speak with the Prime Minister's authority.
Yes, they do.
And she or he, whoever is Prime Minister, that person is effectively speaking on behalf of the Prime Minister with their authority, and what they say is gospel, and you report it as such.
And so we can say, when we come back from the lobby briefing, and for example, the PM spokesman today has said the Prime Minister told Cabinet that we will and must leave the European Union on March 29th, we can report that as the Prime Minister has said. So we know officially that those are the words she used, that was the language she used, and he knows that we're going to report it in that way. So it's a way of us being able to explain what the Prime Minister is thinking and her senior ministers without obviously being able to speak to her every day. It's kind of a link into that office, if you like.
And how long does it last? Is it a set period of time each day? Or?
Nope. Sometimes it can last for a couple of minutes if no one's got any questions to ask. Other times it can go on for up to an hour. On days like today, I think today's one lasted for 45 minutes. It's quite long.
And you make notes on your phone as you go along?
I make notes on my phone, I record it on a dictaphone, so I've got everything officially backed up in case we need to double-check language, but I make speedy notes on my phone. Some people use shorthand, but yeah, I can write pretty quickly on my phone.
So we're going to let you go continue your brilliant political reporting. What are you doing now?
I am going back to my desk to have a look at the running order for the next couple of hours.
Good luck. Thanks for your time, Kate. So there you go, straight out of the lobby briefing in Westminster, and she dashes all the way back here, 4-minute walk really from Parliament to Millbank, which is where we report all of the political goings on. And Kate immediately feeding that information into the Millbank news desk here, run by Dan and Lucy, and then they get planning what we're doing off the back of that information that has come in and where we need to have our cameras and crews tomorrow.
Enda, thanks very much. Let's move from Westminster back to West London, and this is the mobile team. You can see one of our colleagues, Anwar, standing up there. They're going to be having their afternoon meeting in about an hour's time. Mobile, a massively important part of Sky News. Some of the facts for you.
I'm happy with that, I think we know their first names, we don't need to put that. As long as we get the parents' names after.
Follow Sky News breaking account on Twitter, and over 4 million people follow Sky News account there. Almost 1 million people have subscribed to Sky News' YouTube channel as well.
All the kids belong to the same parents.
And the output that comes from here is Snapchat, it's Twitter, it's all the social media, on demand as well as the stuff that you see, the videos that you see on social media feeds as well. Mark Alford is in charge of this whole department. Ashish is with him. Ashish.
Hi, Jane. No, I'm not actually with them. They're on one floor below, on the second floor where Sky News is. They're at the heart of the Sky News operation. I'm actually one floor above on the third floor, and I just wanted to show people where we work, who we share our building with. We're with Sky Sports, and all my friends get really excited, not because I work at Sky News, but because I share a building with Sky Sports. They think I get to see all the big sports stars who come into this building. I get excited because I get to walk past this every single day. Please don't tweet me, please. I'm just being funny. That's my team, that's who I support. Don't tweet me about Tottenham Hotspur and what I should and shouldn't be saying about my club on air. There is a reason, there is a really good reason why we're here on Sky Sports, because this is Mark Alford. We were talking about him just now. Hi, Mark, thank you. He doesn't always just hang around here. This is what happens when we're making TV news. We start in one area and then we walk to another area where somebody just happens to be waiting to be interviewed. So that's a little bit of magic. We burst a few bubbles there. Look, there's a reason we're on this floor. This is where you began your career before you came downstairs to carry on. So you've moved from hard news to sports news, back to news. Tell us about the change. Is that a gear change? How easy is it to segue between the two?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's fascinating because the principles are the same. It's still about being reliable, authoritative, and doing the news. It's just a different subject area. So I did 10 years on Fleet Street on the sports desk of the Daily Mail, and then 3 years in Sky Sports in this very floor here. And then I've been in Sky News now, running the digital teams there for 14 months, I think.
We've been talking to your colleagues downstairs. It's a big empire there, and the operation in terms of the numbers and eyeballs and people who actually consume what you're putting out. Just talk us through some of those numbers. It's incredible.
Yeah, so we do get decent audiences, but it's not, you can't compare a digital user with a TV viewer because digital audiences are quite transient, but we're getting, as you mentioned, some really good audience figures. We're getting about 25 million unique browsers. I can explain that to people.
Please do, yeah.
A unique browser is not an individual person, because I've got an iPhone, I've got an iPad, I've got a desktop computer, so I would count as 3 browsers in those terms. So they're not true audience figures for people, but we average about 25 million unique browsers a month across our website and app. Obviously, that's only a very small part of what we do in our digital team, because you spoke to the Snapchat team earlier, you spoke to the social team. So we're kind of on platform, which is our owned and operated platforms, our website and our app, and we're off platform in terms of being on the big social platforms as well. And essentially what we need to do is give a news experience to those audiences, and largely that's about the content that goes out on the main TV channel, but it's also what additional value we can give to the users. We call them users rather than viewers, and that can manifest itself in clever methodology on tweeting. It can be decent bespoke premium video. You might have seen our recent Divided video, or the way that we're doing hotspots on Snapchat. Some really clever vertical formats in video. So it's about repurposing the great journalism that we do.
Explain what repurposing means. We use that all the time at Sky. What does repurposing mean?
So it's about formats. So if I can get it out, my mobile phone, everybody uses their mobile phone. And we're catering to an always-on generation. But it's not just a new generation. Look, you and I have got grey hairs, and we still use our mobile phones all the time as well. So it's about delivering content in the formats that people want to engage with them and use them. So there's a big movement at the moment, especially in our newsroom, but other newsrooms as well, to produce vertical video. So that's turning TV, which is 16:9 aspect ratio, into vertical format, and we do that with kind of clever ways of splitting the screen. The majority of digital video is consumed with the sound off, so we have to provide subtitling and captioning because people still want to understand what's going on
when they're travelling around.
Of course. And connectivity is an issue as well. We're not 100% Wi-Fi in this country yet. We're still dependent on 4G, and people don't want to consume lengthy video because it eats up their data. So we try and speed up the storytelling process.
At the heart of all of this, is your news gathering instinct exactly the same as the other editors in television and in radio? Or are you thinking, this is digital, we need to plough our own furrow, we need to do something different because our users, as you described them, are different? Or is it exactly the same? You're just treating the content differently?
So it's not exactly the same. The principles of doing the journalism are the same. It has to be robust, we have to check facts, we have to get it right. Sky News has to be accurate across all of its screens and all of its platforms. However, some of our story selection changes because, TV are producing, I don't know, between 10 and 15 stories a day to fill the airtime and for their prime bulletins. We are producing somewhere between 25 to 50 stories a day, and so a large portion of that can't be really labour-intensive journalism. It's got to be kind of reporting what's going on through that press release or what's going on with this social media account. And there are certain subjects which really resonate with our audience base. Showbiz, science and technology, as well as the hard news like the terrible deaths from the house fire today, and the body that's been found in Reading. The hard news stories are important. The other thing that's really important for us is the way that we treat live events. So, you watch Channel 501 for PMQs, and it's moving picture. For us, it's a live blog. And it's rapidly updating content with snippets and multimedia, bits of video, bits of picture, bits of Twitter, that kind of thing.
Great, Mark. Thank you for a fascinating insight into the world of digital. He started here. He's downstairs on the floor. That really matters as far as we're concerned today for Sky News Raw.
Let's take you from the building into the heart of the building, the gallery. This is where the buttons are pushed, where the pictures come through and then go out on your telly.
Okay, thank you,
this is where the director
this
sits, the
last
producer
story.
sits. This is
Stand
where
by
they
transmission.
talk to the presenter who's on air. So this is the heart of Sky News TV. You can see there all of the different screens that they have to choose from. The big clock in the middle that they're using to count down till the end of the hour. Around 20 past, this is normally the time we go
Take
to
us, please.
sport.
Transmission.
I think we're actually
You're
on
clear.
a break at the moment. There you can see Stuart
3,
sitting in the middle there.
2,
He is the director.
1, Colin.
Been at Sky
Cue.
quite a long time,
next.
23 years, according to his biog here. Interesting fact about him, he started off in Ingest, Play Out and Vision Mixer,
VT here.
and joined Sky News just as the 9/11 attacks happened.
On the VT.
He mixed Sky News at that point.
When the news was made like this. He did away with that, of course, only it didn't stop there.
He's obviously had enough, hasn't he? This is when we're on a break or when we're on sport. This is the chance for the director to stretch their legs. It's their job to basically make sure that what the producer has put down on the computer, the running order, that it actually technically makes the telly, that it actually works. Also decides which shots to use, which cameras to use, where to put guests if they're coming into the building. In the last week or so, that's involved where to put a choir, where to put dogs when they come in the building. You never know quite what's going to be happening on a day in the news. Discussion with Neil, the co-director.
It's another planet.
We're on it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
What else have we got?
Sam, the producer, she's still there. It's coming up to the end of Sam's hour, actually, because at 11:30,
Right,
at 1:30 we have
45.
In King
Have you
Live.
prepped
So
the
this
weather
is
for me now?
the tail end of the 2.5 hours that Sam's
1500,
been producing live.
I think really the only new line is
Yeah.
fire with the 4 names, isn't it? With the naming.
We're not doing King 2s.
Yeah.
Weather ready.
Lovely, thanks.
Weather ready. To Google and Facebook.
Are you?
Oh God, I've got it there.
Am I what, Neil?
You're taking the mickey out of me, though.
No. I just think it's all very funny.
Hello, Knock 5.
So the guy in the middle of the screen in the dark shirt, that's Alan. He's going to be directing Ian King Live. So he's coming in, that's starting at 1:30. He's coming in to get himself ready, getting his headpiece, his ears on, as we call them.
It's the way around.
And just as we saw Sam hot-footing it out, he will be hot-footing it in.
Neil, do you mind seeing if Jonathan
about 2
Samuel's
minutes'
in the
time.
wings?
Yes.
That me and Tash both had to wear one earlier.
Hello, Sean. Have you got Jonathan Samuels handy? Okay, Carl.
So, Colin, stand by for a bit of weather.
Lewis Goodall, are you hearing the programme okay? Thank you very much, Lewis.
Where is Lewis? 10 seconds here.
Hello, sir. Can I just check you can hear the programme okay?
Stu's just letting the presenter Colin know how long's left on this
Taking us
piece
to
that's
weather
running.
bumper next. 3, 2, 1, mix, cue.
Here's weather.
And take us, please, TX.
We can't
We're
at the
clear.
moment, no. I'm sorry, lovely.
Understand? Can I just check if they arrive? Just say they arrive at 25 past.
3, 2, 1, and Colin, cue.
Well, it's because it's
Time
Ian
for the
King
weather.
Live. No, we're literally about to come off air now. Yeah,
So
thanks,
Colin's
Claire.
reading the weather, just the end of Sam's stint on air there. So let's go from the weather that's been read out in Sky News to the weather department. Ashish has just moved around. Ashish.
I'll come downstairs back into the Sky Newsroom. You've been talking and listening to journalists and reporters and editors and graphic designers and VT film editors. We also have scientists in the building who work at Sky News. This is Joe Robinson. Joe, hello, thank you. Weather.
Yes.
It's so important. That's
Everyone loves weather.
We talk about weather all the time.
We do.
How do you find out the weather and put it onto Sky News? You're going to show us, aren't
Shall
you?
we go into the studio?
Yeah.
Let's go into the weather studio. We do other things in the studio, but this is
Keep the store open for you.
where we do the weather. And I'll bring up some graphics on the screen.
Wow.
So in here, this is where we do the weather. So we get our weather information from the Met Office. They send through the data. So we look at that information. We get a picture of what's going on weather-wise across the UK and Ireland and across the world as well.
And you're a meteorologist.
I am, yes.
So all this data and information that's coming in, you're making sense of it all for your weather presenters?
So the presenters actually do all their work on their own in the morning.
Okay.
So we have sort of a split shift. So you have the presenters in the morning that work through the sunrise programme. So they'll be looking at the information, getting the weather picture together and doing their bulletins. And then for the rest of the day, we have the weather producer, which is myself today, and I'll be doing that information and then writing scripts for the newsreader to read out through the rest of the day and then overnight as
It's
well.
a national obsession. You can't
really
afford
is. No.
to get the weather wrong.
I know, and sometimes it's really, really tricky. I mean, we saw that last week with the snow. It was such a fine balance of where we were seeing snow, rain. So it can be really tricky, but you have to look at all the information. And we have got the guys at the Met Office, so we can talk to them if we're want to chat things through, see what they're thinking, and just talk through the weather scenario.
I suppose what's really important, what do people want to know? If it's going to rain? Or
Yeah, I
if
think
it-
so.
if
I
it's-
think
if it's
you
going
kind of want to know, do you want your umbrella? Do you need to wrap up warm? That kind of thing. I think people want to know that information. And you've got the weather presenter telling the story through sunrise for us here and then through the day. And you can actually then look online. We do scripts online, so you can read there, and videos go online as well. So
with technology, how much has it changed? How accurate is it?
it is. I think technology has changed a great deal, even in the last 10, 20 years. You know, a while ago, 5-day forecasts were, very tricky, but now much more confidence in a 4 to 5 day forecast.
Okay.
So we can look further ahead. We can give trends further ahead than that. I wouldn't say anything more than 5 days ahead. You're more looking at a trend.
So, Jane, from a very dry studio here where it's 9 degrees, I understand you've got some more action going on where you are.
Free Bacardis all round.
Hello, Ian. Can you hear me? Good, thank you,
I've
mate.
no
All
idea. You
good.
need to ask them. So I just don't know. Can you ask
All
them?
is well.
Jonathan Samuel's just leaving
Please.
the newsroom now, he's on his way. Take care, see you soon. Bye, love.
Right, are we all happy? Everyone happy?
I'm vaguely happy.
Marvellous. Mr. Yu, can you hear me?
Let me just turn up City FM. Shift City TS.
Hi, can you hear me, Mr. Yu?
Shift City FM. Talk to me.
Great stuff. Thanks very much. We'll be with you in about 10 minutes. Thank
So
you.
we see now Ian King there in our city studio, and his assistant editor Scott Beasley sitting in the seat where Sam was sitting earlier. He's now taken over. They've got the next half an hour on air. It's our weekday business news programme from 1:30 till 2 o'clock. Our business presenter Ian King is in the Gherkin studio, and I think this is a rehearsal. Let's listen.
On you, Ian. Cue.
The top story is live from the Sky News City studio.
And cue on.
HMV is saved again, but 23 stores will close. I'll speak live to the man who's bought the struggling music retailer.
Cue on.
Disappointing figures from the services sector shows growth in the largest part of the UK economy stalling.
E-Gyms, cue on.
I speak to boardroom stalwart Sir George Buckley as he becomes chairman at E-Gym.
Markets.
FTSE 100's high this lunchtime. We get a live update on global markets.
Cue on.
Almost 9 in
Cybersecurity.
10 UK firms suffered a cybersecurity breach last year.
And Bacardi.
And out of the office into the bar, Bacardi sends employees around the world down the pub for the day.
Here comes the sting.
3, 2, 1, and cue.
Good afternoon. One of the most famous names on the high street is being saved once again, and in part. Music and entertainment retailer HMV has been bought out of administration by Canada's Sunrise Records. 100 stores will stay open, but 27 will close, and 455
32 is next.
will lose their jobs. Well, Sunrise Records bought HMV's Canadian business.
Very bizarre
in
background behind him,
2017.
but I'll contextualise
It's
it.
paying for HMV
Is that graphic
here.
right?
We can ask
Yeah.
Sunrise Chief Executive.
You see it on the wide now.
32 on the wide.
Very good afternoon to you. So, give us a clue. How much have you paid?
You know, I paid a fair amount, but we think it's well in line with what the value.
Just call this overlay if you want the pictures
Now,
again.
Hilco,
All right, thanks.
the people who owned HMV previously, I mean, they specialise in turnarounds, and even they couldn't make this work. What makes you think you can?
I just think we have a good understanding of what the customer wants. We're a music retailer, an entertainment retailer, so we don't just work specifically on turnaround, we work specifically in this sector, so I think we really understand what the business
4 minutes here, 4 minutes on this.
Entertainment is going on.
Dropping in 31.
So Netflix, Spotify, taking
Going
away
back to
business from
32,
physical
32.
retailers. Why do you think physical retail
33.
still has a part to play?
Well, look, if you just even look at HMV, they did £250 million in business last year, which is it's a pretty good figure. So we know there's still a customer there that wants it, and we think if we give them the right product, the right depth of catalog, then the business can continue to grow.
Who's in the who and the what?
HMV has something like a third
I know
of
the leopard
physical
skin.
DVD sales, for example, in this country, and even then they couldn't make it profitable.
Yeah, I think, look,
3:30 here then, 3:30.
3.5.
You just have to be leaner. You have to have the right rent structures. You know, you have to partner more deeply with the landlords, with suppliers. Everybody just has to get that much more efficient to make it work.
Yeah, you mentioned the landlords there. Very
Shall we see the
interesting.
buildings
What
and
have
start
been
with
the
landlords?
conversations that you've had with the landlords?
Very positive. I mean, I think they're been great support for us. So honestly, at this point, you know, we've been very happy with the feedback.
Looking at some of the stores that are closing, though, they are some of the big shopping centre outlets, the likes of Cribbs Causeway in Bristol, Braehead in Glasgow, Westfield in London. These are all stores that are no longer going to have an HMV.
Oxford Street stays there, doesn't it?
No, Oxford Street's going.
Oh.
Topping the list with Oxford Street.
Good job of showing those pictures then.
Can't break even on it, and there's no.
This is the director, Alan, talking there to Scott Beasley, who's the assistant editor of Ian Live. Scott's also at the same time keeping an eye across the clock and counting in Ian's ear, saying a couple of minutes left.
2:30 here, 2:30.
2:20, 2:30 here. So that means he knows that he's got 2 minutes 30 left on this interview before he needs to bring it to an end.
The attitude of the record
Dropping in
companies
31.
themselves. I mean, historically, they are
Back to
known to have
32.
given HMV support. Is that going to be the case
32,
this time
coming to
around?
33,
Yeah, I mean, we got
33.
great
And the cut
support in
32,
Canada.
31, those are referring to the cameras, the different cameras that we have in our news building. At the mini shard, I've been corrected, it's no longer the Gherkin. Down at London Bridge, of course, now, at the headquarters of News UK
You got
as well.
straps
That's
for
where
this gym
Ian
slab
King
when it
Live
happens,
comes
yeah?
from every lunchtime.
Vinyl to be a bigger part of HMV, for example.
About 2 minutes here then.
I'll probably repo 31 during the Buckley VT, but I'll talk to you about that at the time.
Does that mean
32.
I know you're a big music fan as well, personally.
33,
Does that mean
coming to
that
31,
the emphasis might be
31.
Switching from general entertainment back towards music?
32.
I think the stores are big enough that we can focus on both.
33.
We know we can give a really compelling DVD, Blu-ray, 4K assortment, as well as a great CD and vinyl assortment. We're not really limited with space on that.
1 minute here then.
I mean, what about the likes of going up against the likes of Amazon here? I mean, they have huge advantages. They pay barely any business rates, corporation tax. HMV does. You're going up against a Goliath here.
We are, but you know what? I think people are starting to catch on to that, you know, and I think our customers and the people in the UK are really
So Inking Live,
supportive of this
that's continuing now until 2 o'clock. That's what's going on at Sky News TV. What's going on outside? What's going on in the newsroom?
wide shot, then 31 for
My
the
colleague
original
Joshi is still out there roaming around talking to different people. Of course, we've seen all the different people on the news desks, the home desk, the foreign desk. We've had a chat with social. We've been down the editing corridor. We've spoken to some of the management. You've even spoken to your boss. But there are lots of young people, aren't there, at Sky, Ashish? Lots of trainees, lots of people who it's one of their first jobs in the media. And you've got Kumba with you.
Yeah. I have. Kumba's waiting here patiently. She's actually just finished her lunch, truth be told, and we're going to come and talk to Kumba. Kumba, you are the future. You're the young trainee reporters who are going to replace the likes of me. What's it been like coming to Sky as a young journalist?
It's been quite a life-changing experience, I would say. Being in a newsroom is like different from anywhere you've ever been before. So really just adapting to this environment has been really life-changing. It's made me kind of evolve as a journalist.
Yeah, these apprenticeships that we're involved with, they're quite new. So how does it work? Just explain, because a lot, following our Twitter thread this morning, lots of young journalists who are glued to Channel 523 because they want to know what it's like to work inside a big news organisation. How did you get in? How does the apprenticeship work?
So the apprenticeship mainly works is like you have to fill out a normal application. So you go through the normal application process as you would for
with
any
the college
job. Yeah. So not through a college. You can do it as an individual. So you don't have to be in college. At the time, I just finished my A-levels and I was going through the transition period between college and university. So in between that gap, I saw a lot of like apprenticeships going around, and there's a lot of like websites that can like show you like student opportunities, jobs that you can apply for as a journalist. And like I saw the Sky News as one of the options as a job role I can apply to as an apprentice, and then I applied and went through the application process and did the interview.
Okay, what was it about Sky? Why did you want to come and work at Sky?
I think it's because Sky is very different from like a lot of the other media organisations, and I believe Sky is very innovative. They create a lot of things, and what I saw on Sky News, which I didn't see on other media platforms, is the fact that they always had a new like idea. They weren't just sitting down telling the news. They would either do like a whole piece, a documentary piece, at least on something. So it was always like they did a lot of like innovative things that a lot of other media organisations weren't doing. So I thought it would be really, really good for me to be here and just grow.
You were talking about documentaries. We threw you in at the deep end, didn't we?
Yeah, I know.
Not so long ago, you produced this excellent report on a knife crime in this country. How difficult was it to produce a piece of journalistic television like that?
It was very, very, very hard. It took months for us to put everything together. We had to find the right people that were willing to speak out because it's such a controversial topic. So many people did not want to get involved or did not want to speak. So we had to find the right people to get involved. We had to find the right areas. We had to do our facts and research, show everything that we were putting out in the documentary was not false. And getting all of that and putting it all together, it took months, but it came out looking really, really good.
Yeah, it was really well received. Do you think that's because you added a certain credibility to it? Because these are people who you understood, who understood you. That's how you made that access happen, right?
Yeah, because as a young person and who's grown up in Southeast London, being able to speak to someone else who's grown up in the same like environment I have but have chosen a different pathway for themselves, it was easier for them to sit down and actually talk to me and actually like get me to understand like how it's like and why they've chose to do these things. And it was more of like if it was someone else that did not come from a social background that I had come from, they may have not been able to get the people on camera to speak as like openly as they did.
So is that the sort of story you want to pursue and develop here? You want to keep working with the producers and the editors to bring those sort of stories into Sky News?
Not those sort of stories. I'm more focused on the youth culture. So young people like myself, stories that interest other young people are the sort of stories I would like to like put forward. And I'm currently working on a few interesting
Can you share those
stories
stories
now.
With us? Are you allowed to tell us?
Not
what
right
are you working
now.
on? Okay.
Yeah, but when they do come out, they should be promoted all over social media, so a lot of people will see. But we're looking for. Well, I'm excited to be working on more like youth-based stories and things that will entice more young people to watch Sky News.
Yeah, it's really important for people who watch the channel to see people like you on air, isn't it?
Yeah.
How well has your joining Sky been received among all your friends? Are they, wow.
Yeah, it's been...
Or do they say, why would you want to go to Sky? Why do you want to work there?
I think in the beginning, people did not understand like a role of a journalist. Like usually you see a journalist, they're just like reporting the news from TV. But when my friends actually started to see like I'm actually, because I have my own Snapchat, so they can see what I do behind the scenes when we're putting together documentaries or working on a story. And to them it's like, wow, like literally, because it's not a lot of people actually go out there and actually follow their dream and you see them pursuing it. So a lot of young people thought, this is like really, really different. But now I see a lot of my friends are like pushing to do something, pushing
You've
to follow
them.
Yeah, to pushing to follow what they love. And a lot of my friends are also like journalism as well, are pushing to like get experience in journalism, to get stories out there. So it's been really, really good.
Well, that's really good. What are the editors here, the people, the decision makers who commission these stories, are they receptive to your ideas? Do they even know what you're talking about half the time?
It's kind of like, because they're from a different generation, sometimes they don't. But that doesn't mean they dismiss my ideas. they are even more welcoming, especially if they don't really understand it. They're more welcoming and more open to it. And I think it's just because of the world is changing and everything's evolving. So even if you don't understand something, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a good story. And editors here understand that, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to hand back to Jane. Now, how long left on your apprenticeship?
6 months.
Another 6 months. So we're going to see you around Sky for a bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, congratulations and well done on all your excellent work so far. So that will give you an insight, I hope, into what it feels to be like an apprentice or a trainee reporter here at Sky News.
Thanks, Archie. It's really interesting, isn't it, talking to people like Kumba, because they have so much to bring. They have so much that they can teach the older generation, like us, about news gathering in this new digital world. Well, this is Millbank. We were there just a short time ago. We saw the lobby briefing from Kate McCann, who came in to report what had happened at lobby this morning. This is, of course, in the heart of Westminster, where all of Sky News' political coverage comes from. The studios there are where All Out Politics comes from every weekday morning. It's also where Sky News Tonight comes from in the evening. So our political team based there. Claire Parry there, sitting down at the desk there, just enjoying her lunch. One of the older people who've been at Sky News Millbank, has been there for one of the longest times. A real stalwart and somebody with an invaluable knowledge of politics and the logistics of how political stories break, how to staff those political stories in Westminster. My colleague Enda Brady is down there. Enda, we saw Kate coming in, we saw her briefing Dan and Lucy about what she was told. How will that news now be filtered out to the political correspondents? How will it be treated and how will it be dealt with through the day?
Well, Jane, we'll go and ask them because they're in the meeting room just behind me here. So we're live in Millbank. Everyone's just getting ready for programmes that are on air later in the day. There's Dermot Murnaghan. Hello, Dermot Murnaghan. Good to see you on Sky News Raw.
Yeah.
So he's getting ready to go on air. And this is the meeting room in here. I'll just go in first. This is Lucy Plint, who's senior news editor, and Dan Williams, who's head of politics at Sky News. And just before we talk to my colleagues, just up on the wall here, you can see some of the frame pictures. That's Britain's first 24-hour election coverage. And I'm guessing that was 1992. You can see David Frost there on the left. Beside him is a very young-looking Adam Bolton, I must say. And then the man with the moustache is Michael Wilson, who was business correspondent and editor for years, and Selena Scott there on the right-hand side. And across here, Adam Bolton loves a framed photograph. So there we have Al Gore in the middle, a young-looking Tony Blair. And front page of the Evening Standard from all those years ago. Brown goes into meltdown on TV. My cameraman Jonathan Scarrett, who's filming this, was actually the camera on that. And there we have Barack Obama with Adam. So let's talk about the current state of play. Dan and Lucy, you effectively run Millbank. So what was gleaned from that lobby briefing when Kate McCann came back in with that information and she informed you of the Prime Minister's thinking, really?
Well, there's a couple of things. There's sort of the logistical side of things. So we were waiting to find out what time the speech was today in Northern Ireland, which they confirmed in lobby. We knew roughly what time it was going to be. And also, importantly, ahead of that, there's been a lot of speculation as to when she's going to travel to, the Prime Minister will travel to Brussels, and we'd heard that it was possibly going to be Thursday. And obviously they've confirmed that now, which is really significant in the current climate and story about when's the PM going to go back and sort of propose this alternative plan. So we sort of, that's the sort of logistical side of it. And then the other side, which Kate alluded to, is within the lobby is the sort of tone and the use of language around subjects. So it's sort of, they didn't expand on the sort of, she firmly said March the 29th again is when we're going to exit, or we may be open to this, or that might be possible. And that's where the lobby is really important for our correspondents to go and sort of read behind those sort of statements, what's the sort of tone and mood.
So Lucy, correspondence here, Parliament is literally a 4-minute walk away from here. This is the beating heart of political journalism, and you guys are at its very centre.
Yeah, it's been busy over the last few months. A really busy time, sort of trying to keep on top of what's happening in terms of Brexit negotiations, and we've all also had to become sort of experts in parliamentary procedure recently. There have been lots of votes, and so we're all learning a lot very quickly. So we're here kind of trying to juggle both what stories we're covering, what lines we're doing on those, but also here on the kind of news desk, there's an awful lot of logistics. So working out which correspondent is going to be where at what time, who's doing lives, who's working on a package, do we need to get people going off to events or travelling with the PM?
How difficult is it when you're on a story like the Brexit referendum result and everything that has brought, when there's such a big story that everyone is following and it's adrenaline needed day after day, and this is going on for 2.5+ years?
No, we've had our moments here where the team have, just physically and mentally been, absolutely exhausted. But what I would say about them and about the correspondents and the news desk here, they're all really, really passionate about what they do for Sky and about politics as well. So it is the buzz of Westminster and the buzz of the political story that sort of keeps people going, if you like. But believe me, they're pretty shattered.
So everyone's tired, and yet the story keeps giving, Lucy. So tomorrow, where Cabinet today, tomorrow the Prime Minister obviously will be busy as well, and you've got to work out what she's going to say, where she's going to be, and who needs to go cover it.
Yeah, exactly. So when Kate came back and gave us that lobby briefing, she said, the PM's going to be in Northern Ireland again tomorrow, and then expected to come back for Prime Minister's questions at lunchtime. So there are certain things we have every week which are sort of a bit of theatre for us. So Prime Minister's questions is obviously one of those on a Wednesday. But beyond that, it's just kind of trying to work out what we do. So Faisal, our political editor, is in Northern Ireland today covering the speech, so it's making those decisions. Do we keep him there in the morning to do some lives around those meetings, or at what point should we bring him back? And always trying to keep one eye ahead to what the next trip might be, or when there might be something else which we need him to do.
So have there ever been occasions where you've been completely caught on the hop, where a tweet comes out from someone quite respected saying the Prime Minister is about to make an announcement? For example, that day on the steps of Downing Street, and everyone was running around wondering, what's it going to be?
Yes, yeah. I think I had about an hour's notice ahead from Number 10 that was going to happen, and we do work within the lobby framework in that information is given to us on the basis of embargo, both for operational reasons and security reasons. So we get a sort of hour's heads up that the Prime Minister was going to talk at about 10 o'clock that night. And of course then you don't really know, is it, has she struck a deal, is she going to resign, and sort of we go into a bit of a frenzy here, and so do Ostley, of course, over there, where they sort of could speculate wildly what might be happening. But we do have good contacts through our journalists and team here that we usually have a sense of what's going on. So I'd say it's rare that we're totally caught out, but of course it happens.
And what's the buzz like, Lucy, on a big day when you know in advance there's going to be a vote in Parliament later, and we see demonstrators outside in the street on Abingdon Green, we see all the heavyweight politicians coming in here to be interviewed by presenters and correspondents? Sum up for me the adrenaline rush of a very, very significant day in Millbank.
It is really exciting. We often have a lot of people in this office. On those kind of big days in Parliament, we're often doing sort of live presentation out on the green, which is obviously a bit of a circus in itself. But on those days here, we're kind of juggling, OK, we're going to put a correspondent inside Parliament in Central Lobby, we're going to put a correspondent in Downing Street, let's have someone with the presenter at all times so that they can talk through the sort of minutiae of parliamentary procedure. So there's a lot of logistics, but also it's really good fun. And we're all, as I said, all sort of having to rapidly swat up on what's happening in the Commons.
Lucy and Dan, thanks for your time. Just before we go, I'm intrigued by all of the fantastic framed photographs that Adam Bolton has on the walls of this. So there we have 21 years of Sky News, so that's obviously 9 years old. We have George W. Bush up there. Down here, who's that? Peter Mandelson is over there. 21 years of Sky News, so that's 9 years old, as I say. And down here we have the then President of Ireland, Uachtar an Heron, Mary Robinson, and a very young-looking Adam Bolton. So that's it, live inside the meeting room here in Millbank. And as I was saying to Dan and Lucy as we were hearing there, all that information that came back from the lobby briefing has now been fed into the system. Camera crews and correspondents getting ready to go about their business tomorrow and trying to work out what it all means. And you can see lots of empty desks, because not only is it lunchtime, they're all working out where they need to be to get the next line of the story.
And thanks very much. Fond memories of my time in Millbank there. Can we just spin round and see that room again that you're in, the meeting room? That was Adam Bolton's office for a very long time. Adam used to use it to get changed in, slightly oblivious to the fact that the doors and the walls are all made of glass. Always a jolly time in the Sky News Millbank office. Thanks very much, and thanks very much for that. Well, let's cross from Westminster back to West London. Ashish Joshi, he's just down the corridor, deep in the bowels of the building. This is on the ground floor of Sky Studios. Hi, Ashish. This is where lots of the studios are based, where we broadcast from. It's also where our gallery is based for today. So we're broadcasting from Gallery 8 down here on the ground floor at Sky Studios. Ashish is heading my way. Hi, Ashish.
I am. I'm not very far from you at all, Jane. In fact, I'm just a few feet away. That right down there at the end of the corridor, that's the studio where we broadcast sunrise from every morning. We don't usually come down as far as this end of the corridor. I've never been to Gallery 8 before today. You can see that red TX sign. That's warning me not to go in. So what shall I do? I should go in, actually, because we're going to come inside and we're going to talk to Jane and Laura and all the other people who are busy putting out Sky News Raw on air. I'm not sure how this is going to work with us on air at the same time as you. Let's go down. This is the gallery, and David, the director, already told me off about 5 minutes ago for making too much noise. He's asked me to keep my voice down because this is a live news environment. And that's Laura. Let's go and speak to Laura Scott, who is our editor. Laura, come on in, if you can, just join us off. How's it all going today?
It's very exciting today.
Difficult programme to work on?
Yes, it is. The word of the day is meta, as we kind of see ourselves ever more down the rabbit hole, as we're doing now. And I can hear myself, and that's very distracting. Yeah, but it's. I think it's a good thing what we're doing to sort of show real transparency in the newsroom and just show what it takes to get the stories out.
Yeah, I mean, this is almost second nature to you now. You spend a lot of your time on the floor with your teams, putting the programmes together and then coming into a gallery like this one and hoping all the effort that you've put into those stories works and goes through air smoothly. But so much pressure on you all the time. How do you cope?
Yeah, you kind of just get into it though, and it's you know, it's an exciting environment to work in. But yeah, as you say, I've spent many years in the dark little box, you know, pressing buttons and cutting things to air and that kind of thing. So, but it is exciting, and we've got a great team who all kind of people you don't see as well. There's a lot of people in this room who you don't see, who are all down the front here, who you speak to, who. You know, you couldn't do it without them. So,
can you introduce us to some of your team and explain what they're doing today?
Yeah. So David, next, I think David Gilman is the director.
I should know where the cameras are. Not very good at that.
And David can talk you through all the kind of myriad of screens.
So many screens, David. How do you know which one to watch?
That's the one that goes out to the viewers. The one in the middle with programme written on it, and the one to the right is preview, which is what we're going to go to next, ideally. And then along the bottom we have 36 cameras that we can choose from, and it's all very exciting because you have no idea where people are going to walk, what they're going to do, and there's a myriad of different things you could cut.
This is all unscripted, isn't it? That's right.
Yes, absolutely. So we're hopping in and out of meetings today, and day to day, just generally directing the channel normally. You never really know what's going to happen next.
Okay.
And that's what makes it fun.
So explain how the relationship between you two works. You're ultimately you're calling the shot, but you are listening in to all the conversations and suggesting where we should be going next. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, today's a bit different because we haven't got, you know, like usually you have a running order. You build a programme, you take that running order into the gallery, and then you put that out and you follow the running order. Whereas today it's free flowing. We're kind of trying to show you all different elements of what people around the newsroom are doing. But making a real programme, the producer and director work really closely together. It's really important to have that vibe, and you get to know the director as well. Me and David have worked together for years, so I kind of know what he likes likes, and he knows the kind of things I like. So you build that kind of relationship, which then helps with the look of the programme, I guess.
Tempers get frayed, lots of stress, people start freaking out.
We're all quite chilled, I think, in the gallery. I think you have to be quite chilled, because it doesn't kind of get things done if you're not. So yeah, it is quite high pressured. You know, things unravel 30 seconds before the top of the hour. I've had programmes where I haven't had comms with the correspondent, the presenter, no shot, you know, to go to, or all the kit breaks, and suddenly I've started the top of one sunrise with a tight shot of Stephen Dixon's head, and that's it. You know, nothing else was working. We couldn't cut tape to air, we couldn't run graphics, and it was around the time of Gaza, and there was a live shot of some smoke, so we just kind of bussed over that for a bit until we got things on screen. But yeah, you have to kind of have a plan A, B, C and D, I think, going into a show.
After a few hours in here, just find a dark space to lie down in for a bit.
No, need the light. Into the light.
Okay, and just behind you, listening in, is Chris, who said, don't put me on air and don't talk to me. Chris, you're the editorial guru overseeing all of this today. Is it going the way you thought it might? Everyone at the beginning said, don't do this, really bad idea. How do you feel about it now?
No, I was very confident it was all going to go fine, and I think it's gone pretty well. I mean, the thing is, we do quite a fun, interesting job, and there's lots of things which most people don't get to see normally. They just see the kind of very front end of it when it comes through their TV screen or their phone. And so for one day, there's quite a lot to show people behind the scenes. And as you've seen, there is a lot to show.
Yeah. Tell the truth, are people really being themselves today? But that's a question we keep being asked on Twitter. I mean, it's trending on Twitter. People are fascinated. They're really enjoying the output, but they want to know, is this what Sky News is really like?
I'd say this is what Sky News is really like. I mean, people are being 95% of themselves, maybe 98% of themselves. That 2% is the kind of thing which you might not display in front of your boss.
Yeah.
So if you were in a meeting room and your boss was there, you might behave a bit differently, but you would still behave in a kind of professional, sensible way. So I think yes, 98% of how people normally behave.
Look, if we can ask the camera just to turn around this way, we're going to talk to Jane Secker.
I've got my lip mic here. I don't normally have a lip mic. I feel like I should be on sports.
Adam, thank you so much. Are you enjoying this?
It's really interesting. I mean, obviously, I've been at Sky a long time. I've been at Sky 18 years, and I've done lots of different jobs since I've been here. You know, I was a reporter. I've been out on the road. I've been out on location lots, and I've been in the studio for the last sort of 8-10 years. But even though I'm in the studio every day, and coming up to the hour, at 3 minutes to, you hear the people changing over, and then there's the count up to the hour, and there's 30 seconds or whatever. It's so much more exciting watching it than I mean, you just get used to hearing it in your ear, but when you're actually watching the gallery and seeing what everybody's doing, it's really, really exciting. And also, we in the studios tend not to see what's going on in the newsroom most of the time.
Exactly that. You're learning things. I'm learning things about my organisation.
I mean, especially in terms of social and things that have really changed since I was on the road. I mean, when I was on the road, you'd occasionally get asked to write something for the website, and that was it. And now you look at all of the young people, all of those people in those departments doing these jobs that are accessing the same Sky News product by millions and millions of people who wouldn't be watching it on the TV because they're sitting on a bus somewhere. So seeing how the organisation's changed makes me kind of really quite proud, you know. And I found this, I dug this out last night, which I thought you might like. This was 20 years of breaking news. This was 10 years ago. Some classic shots of me. There I was as a reporter covering the Michael Jackson trial.
Oh, I
looking
remember.
a lot younger. Yeah, you can't get it in focus. But yeah. It's really great thing today doing this. I think it's really interesting, and this is what Chris was saying about people being themselves. And I think the only thing that's different is people are minding their language. There's a lot more bad language.
Do you miss your days on the road? You sound a bit nostalgic.
But I get to go out a lot as a presenter. You know, I was in Sunderland last week doing a programme about Brexit. I was in Leeds the week before. I've been down in Devon and Bristol in the last couple of weeks, and up in Newcastle doing all sorts of things, in Liverpool about Brexit. So so I'm getting to go out and about. But I'm not living. I'm not living in a sleeping bag in the sand and in Gaza like I've sort of done in the past or things like that.
Conflict zones. Been there,
but no, I think people are being themselves. There's a little bit less smut, a little less innuendo, and a little less bad language. We're turning it round.
Yeah, we're going to David. He's going to.
So we've got 1.5 to
start calling from shots.
So we're just trying to cover the top of the hour, which is generally the busiest time in the other gallery. So at some point we're going to stop seeing us, and we'll see the actual gallery of the channel. If you look up at the top, you can see the clock, which is counting down to 1:15. And if we bleed in a bit of audio of gallery talkback. We'll probably hear someone in the background counting to our there. We've turned it down so you don't hear it going round. On camera 19, we can see Emily. So if you let's pan the camera around to the monitor at the bottom and see 19 down there. There you go. This is a great way of directing. And to the right of there, you can see Ben on 20. He's the director in the other gallery. And let's go over to them. So we're going to go full frame to gallery 21, and you'll not hear us anymore. And
pause for a sting. 9 will come and meet you,
20.
and we're laughing.
Ben.
I just want to check the first hero image because I asked him to
15
change
to
it.
ident.
Yeah, that's fine.
Have we got Becky?
Becky's there. Yeah,
We've
sorry,
got her,
Em, what are you saying?
10.
She's
9,
going to talk over the
8,
images in an order.
7,
I will give it to you when we
6
get
to
there.
ident. 5, 4.
Ident's going to run
3,
a second late.
2, 1. Roll. 15 to top of the hour.
Ident's running. Stand by. Camera 10 next.